Are we ready?
Are we?
I don't know. Okay.
Hi, my name's Judy.
Oh, well, hi, I'm Micah. Well, hello to all our YouTubers and RVers out there. Today is our 1-year anniversary or 1-year update for having a Coleman 17B. We bought this thing almost exactly a year ago, and we're going to give you a kind of a rundown and update of things learned and things we've done over the past year. So this might be fun. And hey, we're sitting right on 700 subscribers now. We got our RV about a year ago, but we only started this channel about 6 months ago, and to get 700 subscribers in just 6 months is kind of phenomenal, and we owe that all to you guys. Now, keep up the good work. We need your help, and we appreciate it to no end. All right, let's get right into having a 17B for a year. Well, the first couple of months were kind of rough. One of the things we learned was that camping, RVing, when it's 105, 108 degrees just doesn't work. We got the RV like end of June, like right now, and we got a new mattress, of course, and a few other things, and we were just eager to get out and go camping. And we went out in July, and those of you who live in North Texas know that July and August of last year were horrible. We had triple digits almost every day in July and August of last year. And it's 108 degrees, and we're camping at a pretty little lake in South Texas just for a couple of days to try to learn how to work this thing. It was miserable. You want to get up and go on a hike, you know, first thing in the morning, but it's already 95 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning. We were just miserable. And we were also learning about cooking in the RV. So here it is, 105 degrees.
And so I light a fire.
Yeah,
in the RV.
She starts cooking big meals in the RV, and we can't figure out why we're so hot, why the air conditioner isn't working.
No.
It's 105. When it's 105, don't cook big meals in the RV. That's what I guess the first thing we learned.
I wanted it to be nice.
Yeah, I guess the first thing I learned, just don't go camping when it's 108 degrees. I mean, she's heating up stuff in the microwave, doing everything, making really good food. We took pictures of it. It was great. And but goodness gracious, it only served
not camp food.
No, it's only served to heat up the RV. Important things we've learned over the past year. Don't go camping in really hot weather. And it turns out that we're making this video today, sitting still here, and it's going to be 103 or something like that. So we're kind of sweating a little bit right here, right now. We learned how to park better. We started off not really being able hardly to back into our even storage slot very well. Now we can do that no problem. So when you get your small RV, and Robert at Traveling Robert Free in My RV will tell you that the smaller the RV, the harder it is to park, and we're here to testify that that's true. Yeah, and so, but we learned how to park better. It's nothing for us to back into here now, and a lot of other things.
One time.
Yeah, one time where it used to take us 15 times or something. But the funny thing is that we were at a cool, real nice state park a couple of weeks ago. Lake Mineral Wells State Park, highly recommend it in the whole area. And we're watching these people, they're saying, I just bought this thing yesterday, and they're like taking pictures. And everybody standing around is, all these other RVers, two things. One, don't offer to help. Don't do that, that's not nice. But stand around and watch and remember what it was like for you. Everybody, and this one lady was just apologizing, and we go, you know what? It's okay. We've all gone through this. And she's got this great big RV that she bought used a couple days ago. She tried to park it. It was really something to watch. And everybody there watching was like, oh yeah, yeah. And we're all like, we're very forgiving. You might want to go ahead and get by me, get around me. No, it's okay. We're going to show you the same kind of patience that people showed us, and that's the main thing. And so you'll learn how to park better. The learning curve situation is kind of something that's shared by all, so don't feel too bad about it. Another thing we learned in this past year. Now we've done about 8, or I guess you could say 8 trips we've done. We got in 3 at the end of last year, and then we've done at least, I don't know, wow, you know, we did 2, and we've done about 8 trips all total, but that equals about 10 times we've actually parked, because we took a trip to Georgia, and we camped 3 nights during that trip in 3 different places. So, you know, I'm going to count every time we pull up somewhere and hook up and do all that kind of thing as experience, you know. And so we've got some experience. We've hooked up somewhere or boondocked one time in Tyler, and on my brother's land, and he ran extension cord for us and stuff like that. So that worked out really well. But we didn't have any kind of hookups other than that. We got to experience that sort of thing, and so we got to experience a lot of stuff. Some things that went right, some things that went wrong. Should I tell them about the thing in Moundville? Okay.
No.
Oh, let me just share this with you. And we stayed at a place in Alabama called Moundville. Neat place, but and they got these neat full hookup sites just all around inside of the park where they have these ancient structures and things like that, 1,000 years old and all this kind of stuff, and they're just right there. It's real pretty, but it was a distance, partly my fault, but it was kind of set off too for the sewer hose. They were full hookups, so I had a second section of Stinky Slinky that I've never used, and so I hooked both of them together and ran the whole distance and put it up there. Now, I told you we'd already been on the road a couple of days and already stayed in a couple of places that weren't full hookups, like my brother's, for example. And so we had a fair amount of use already in the tanks, all right? And so I hooked up the new hose section, and I didn't do a good job of it. And I reached up there and I pulled the lever to empty the black tank, because that's the one you do first, and you do the gray tank second to kind of wash it out. And there was kind of an incline, and right there in the middle of the hose, and when I pulled the black tank, it came apart. Okay, and I'm telling you that turns into like a fire hose or a slinky from hell. All right, and you can't shut it off fast enough. It was horrible. All right, and I shut it off, ran up there, had my gloves on, tried to hook it back up. By then, the damage was done to the whole campsite.
Fertilizer.
Oh my gosh, it was awful.
Fertilizer.
It was just awful. So, then later I found a tip online that said, yes, you're going to do the black hose first, and then the second, and then the gray tank second to wash it all out. But test it first with the gray tank.
Oh,
okay.
Lord.
And I learned that lesson the hard way. And the trip we just went on, I certainly did that. Hooked everything up, ran the gray tank a little bit. Yeah, everything works. Then turned on the black.
Then I invited you in for lunch.
Oh yeah, that's right. We were.
And you wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you? It's sliced barbecue brisket.
Yeah, she had
It's your
food.
favorite.
Yeah,
It's your
and
favorite.
after dealing with that hose and everything out there and all I
Like-
could smell, I come in and she's like fixing me dinner, and I'm
I
like,
put a great dinner on the table, and he was like having a gag reflex.
I was like, I couldn't eat. It was horrible. It was just
Yeah.
horrible. One of the things we've learned in this past year. Great trip otherwise. But if you're weekend RVers, don't carry a lot of food. Don't carry a whole sack of flour and all that kind. Yeah, she learned that. She's got something to tell you about that. What do you do?
Take what you need
Yeah.
and put it in, as far as perishables go,
Uh-huh.
put it in the plastic stackable containers, but they also need to be microwavable, so you can get all of the ingredients you need to make what you're going to make, stack it in the fridge, and then take it from the fridge. If it's a sauce or a soup, whatever you may have in there, be able to put it right in the microwave. It's just a lot less steps. And if you have some onions and peppers and things that need chopped up, prepare all of that before you leave and put them in a container. Then if you have a recipe that has a lot of ingredients, you'll have them already ready to just throw in a pot.
And that's really, like I said, if you're doing 2-3 nights a week, you're weekenders, okay? Now, if you're going to be out for weeks at a time, you have to think differently, of course, and think more in types of bulk and stuff. But still, putting everything in a Tupperware or knockoff Tupperware type container stacks and stores a lot easier in this thing, or in the refrigerator. That's worked for us really well. Let's see. We've also learned that leveling is incredibly important.
I love it.
Yeah, it makes all the difference in the world. And the front leveling scissor jacks that we bought for $79 a pair were a great investment. We love it. If you have a 17B, you know what I mean. Yeah, those jacks at the back are there, but the front of it, man, it rocks around and does all kinds of things. All right. Okay, something else we've learned is people talk about RV time. And yes, RV time is a real thing, okay? For several reasons, when like Google Maps or Garmin or whoever you use tells you it's going to take you 5 hours to get somewhere, you need to add an hour to that probably. Some people say at least 10%, which would only be half an hour, but an hour is probably more accurate, okay? And reasons for that are well, they make sense. You can't make the time pulling a trailer that you can with a just a car. For one reason, like in the state of Texas, there is a speed limit for all trailers. If you're pulling a trailer under 26 feet, the maximum speed limit for you during the day is 70 miles an hour, and at night 65 miles an hour. The interstate may say 75, but you can only do 65. All right, that's cut into your time quite a bit. Plus, when you're pulling a trailer, your miles per gallon just drops. We like watching Traveling Robert, Free in My RV, and he was traveling through West Texas a year or so ago, and he was going from about Fort Worth to El Paso, and that is roughly uphill the whole way, and the headwinds are terrible. And he drove for hours, getting, according to his gauge on his truck, 6 miles per gallon.
Oh man.
Yeah, and think about how that's cutting into how often you have to stop for gas. So you got to stop for gas more often. You can't go as fast because you have to stop for gas more often, and it's taking longer. Now you've got to stop for a meal that maybe you wouldn't have had to. If you just were really doing just 5 hours, it's a real thing. When it says 5 hours, make it realize it's going to be 6. Okay, that's just the way it is. And that goes to the rules of threes. If you don't know this, just Google it and you'll see everybody talks about it. When you're traveling, you need to take into account the rules of threes, and these are just great. I didn't think they were that. 3? No, seriously. For one thing, first rule of threes: limit travel per day to 300 miles. Well, that doesn't sound like very much. We used to pick up and go to South Padre Island from Dallas, and that was an 8-hour drive. Big deal. No, don't jump on an 8-hour drive with your RV. It's going to be a 10-hour drive or more, and you're going to be getting somewhere after dark, which is bad. Okay, travel 300 miles. Figure on 300 miles taking 5 hours or more. 5.5 to 6 is more realistic, to be quite honest, and for all kinds of different reasons. Second rule of 3: plan to arrive no later at your campsite than 3 o'clock. Now, the reason for that is because finding your campsite and getting set up without having the benefit of the headquarters or the people who run it, or in the event of say a state park, the park host or something like that, is tough. All right. We left in May. We took a trip to Palo Duro Canyon, and we left out of Palo Duro Canyon kind of late because we knew we only had a 5.5-hour drive to get to the Davis Mountains where we were going. And so, no problem. Well, discovered before we left the town that Palo Duro Canyon is that we had a little problem with our trailer air in our tires. So I quickly found a discount tire, but I had to drive almost to Amarillo to do that, and pulled in, told them about it. They fixed it for free, jumped right on it, fixed it for free, but still now that killed some time. And then by the time we got back to Canyon to head officially on our trip to the Davis Mountains, it was noon. And it was supposed to be and according to Google, it's a 5.5-hour trip. Well, what I should have done, or even a 6-hour trip, what I should have done is added a couple of hours to that and realized it was going to be not 6 o'clock when we're getting there. It's going to be closer to 8 o'clock in the Davis Mountains. And it didn't take into account the fact that sure, half of it's on the interstate, but the other half of it is going through on farm market roads through all kinds of places and things like. And so we get to Davis Mountains State Park after dark. Now, Davis Mountains State Park is not like some of these parks or RV places you go to that have these neat little roads, neat little streets with great lights, and you pull in and you can easily find your site. No, Davis Mountain State Park is a great state park, but it's in the mountains in all kinds of mountain and canyons and things, and so there's no straight lines at all. Campsites over here, campsites over here, campsites over here between these two trees. If they're over there, they're scattered everywhere, and the roads go all kinds of directions. There's not good things like that. And here it is. What is it? 8, 9 o'clock at night in the mountains.
It's dark.
It's dark, and I think, man, surely I can find our campsite. No, couldn't find it. Couldn't figure it out. And finally, she sees a building that says Park Host. She goes in there, and the guy's like real nice, and he takes us to our campsite. And it's a weird one that goes in at an angle, then has to turn between these two trees, and then pull up into here. It was weird. And he looked at me and he said, "You can't back into there in the dark at night. You can't." He said, I've done this my whole life, and I don't think I could back in there in the dark. I'll be honest with you. But here's what we're going to do. We're full up except for the handicap places that we don't book out like that. And so we're going to let you go over here and I'll back you into one of these handicap places, and you spend the night there. And then in the morning, depending on how full up we are, something like that, either we'll let you stay there or we'll move you back over to another side or this side or anything like that. Well, the next morning he came and said, "Oh, you're going to have to go to your regular site." Okay. Well, we go over there, and it takes me, in the daylight, in the morning, it takes me 15 tries to get lined up and finally backing in about that time.
We had a great audience.
Well, we did have a good audience, and they're all shaking their heads wondering how I'm doing it. And about the time that I'm lined up and I've got like another 5 feet to back in, the park host shows up and he goes, "Oh, wow, you did great. Wow, you did good." You're like, "Oh yeah, yeah."
That was easy.
Yeah, that was easy, that kind of thing. But it took me at least 15 tries to get in there. But getting to just about any place after dark is a problem. Sometimes the gates are locked. You do not want to arrive anywhere in the dark. You certainly don't have to arrive after hours, and in some places check-in ends at 3 or 4. Okay, in some state parks in some states. And so plan on getting there before 3 o'clock. That's the second rule of 3, and it's a good one. And then the third rule of 3 is stay at least 3 nights. We have had a couple of nights, a couple of trips where we're learning. We did only 2 nights, and I'll be honest with you, that's not enough time to make it hardly worthwhile unless you're doing it to try out some equipment or try out you're learning something or whatever. Maybe it's okay, but we drove down to up the beach, and we told our son we were going down there, and we basically, when you do only 2 nights, you only have 1 full day. And so he called us up that evening and said, "How y'all doing? You catching any fish? How long are you going to be down there?" So we're leaving in the morning. He said, "You didn't even let your tires cool off. Why did you go down there for such a short stay?" And we thought, I don't know.
I don't know.
And so now we've done some trips where we go spend 2 nights here, then go to the next park, spend 2 nights there, and then go to the next, that kind of thing. Or we just want to stay somewhere one time because we're en route to somewhere where we're going to stay, and that can be a a dry camp, that kind of thing. That's no problem. That's not the point. But 3 days is really what you need to do to make it really worthwhile getting set up and then tearing down and all that kind of thing. So just to recap, limit travel to 300 miles. That's a really good rule. That helps you, stay with rule number 2, and that is arrive no later than 3 o'clock. And rule number 3, stay at least 3 nights. All good advice. Just Google the rule of 3s, RV rule of 3s, and you'll hear lots of people talking about that. So that's kind of our update for a year. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about, you know, we have that, our very first real video was the critical review and showing, a dozen or more of our upgrades, and that one still gets 10,000 hits a month, and we appreciate it, and it's a pretty good one. But since then, we've done a lot of other things. I gotta tell you, I almost forgot. I'm asked sometimes when I'm doing all these upgrades, which in the first year now, we've done 35 upgrades. 35, that's kind of a lot. And we love almost every one of them. They were really cool. And people ask me, wouldn't it be better if you just would have paid the extra bucks and got an RV with a lot of these things already in it? Well, yes and no. Yeah, if I'd had $30,000 or more to spend on an RV, sure. But a lot of the things that are upgrades that I did are actually things that wouldn't have come with a $30,000 one, like the tongue jack. You know,
Yeah.
You gotta have to buy that separate. I don't care if you buy a 25-foot, nice RV or something like that. If you want to not be cranking it, you're gonna have to buy that tongue jack separate.
I want to not be cranky.
Yeah, she's always the one backing, and then when I get it there, she cranks it down. I've always said, we don't need a tongue jack, but I'm buying the steering wheel, Anyway, she loves that, But that's one example. There's several others, like mattress, for example. Everybody says, whether you buy a new RV or buy one used, the first thing you do is buy a new mattress. That's just what you do. You either don't want to be sleeping on somebody else's mattress, or RV mattresses are notoriously awful. And there's some great companies out there that sell RV mattresses in any size you want, and they're going to cost you a pretty penny, but they're worth it. They really are. And those are other things, like I said, we were going to have to buy anyway. And so I've spent about $1,400 total on those 35 upgrades, of which only about $600 worth of those things are stuff we would have had to buy anyway. So really, I only invested about $600 or $700 in these things. And like I said, yeah, I could have spent another $15,000 and gotten a lot of these things, like an extra outlet, which I put in, or things like that. But I had a lot of fun, and that's part of the fun of having a Coleman 17B, is that it's a project. I tell people, I told my brother, I said, basically we bought a kit that is ours then to customize the way we want, and we've done so much stuff. In fact, I'm going to find a way to show you my entire list of upgrades so far and how much I paid for them. Okay, we're gonna make it so you can download it, or at the very least we're gonna scan it on the video or something, so you can see my list of ideas and things. And a lot of the ideas, of course, are things I stole from other people, but some of them are my own. But anyway, gosh, it's hot. You notice that?
Yes,
anyway, so our 10 most recent upgrades, these are upgrades that we've done in the past few months that aren't on that list of our favorite video. And of these, which one do you like the best? Which ones do you think are And by the way, most of these, if you go to our video, 8 upgrades in 8 minutes, 8 of them are on this list. So, which
I like
ones?
the keyless door lock.
Oh yeah, we got a keyless door lock, and I made a video of it. I thought it was going to be handy. No, when you're going out camping, you're constantly leaving the RV and then coming back to it, and man, it's just so easy to go up there and go beep, and it's locked, and then you come back and you go beep, 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 and it's open. You don't have to mess with keys, you don't have to mess with a bunch of stuff, and it's you want camping to be quick, easy, and convenient, and it is. I think that's helped a lot. I love it, and we let members of our family borrow our RV from a couple times, and they say we never use the key. We just, if we're going to lock it, we just use that thing and a combination. It's too easy. What else?
Like the scissor jack front stabilizer.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, is the scissor jack front stabilizers. Man, this thing, like right now, if we don't have it stabilized at all, and if I move it all, everything, you'll hear everything rattle and go from side to side. But those things were easy to put on. I made a video of it.
Ooh.
And oh yeah, I mean these cabinet door struts that you can't see because they're not in the video. But yeah, those things, you know, if you have a 17B, you know how awful it is to have to reach up there and get stuff and then hand it to somebody, put it in. I mean, you hit one of those things, goes up, and you can, oh, that's real handy. The most recent upgrade I did was the water heater switch. Now, if you go back and watch the, say, Camping World ad for the 2022 17B, you'll see the salesman go, and the water heater switch is located conveniently right up here underneath this cabinet. That's about the most inconvenient location you could imagine. A couple weeks ago, we relocated it to be at the end of the cabinet right there next to our control panel, and it's a lot better. And so that's really good. Anything else we need to talk about on our 1-year anniversary here?
I don't know. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we are too, and it's hot in here, and we're not hooked up, so we can't run the AC. And the AC, we couldn't run it anyway because it makes too much noise for the microphone. But we're having a lot of fun, and we're thrilled to do this. We need your subscriptions. It doesn't cost you anything, but it means the world to YouTubers like us. Because, like I said, until you get 1,000, YouTube doesn't take you seriously at all. You know, and at 1,000, we get the ability. Okay, thanks. We get the ability to use some of their other products for making better videos and things like that. So they'll give us that. So that's nice. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for coming along with us on this first year, and we'll give it another update in another year. But hey, let's get those subscriptions, and I hope we see other 17Bers. I still don't know what to call somebody with a 17B. I still don't know. That just doesn't sound good. Hey, but every once in a while in campgrounds we see them and we like to go, oh, what did you do? We trade notes and things like that, and it's a lot of fun. And so I hope to see you in your 17B or your other small camper that you've done some upgrades to soon out on the road. We're getting a custom spare tire cover and put on there, and so you can see us, and you'll see our site here, this site that you're seeing me on now. Probably don't need that information. Okay, anything else we need?
AC.
I know, it's so thirsty, it's so hot. I know. Well, take it easy. We'll see you down the road, and have fun, okay? That's what it's about. Fun in our RV.